Hello there, it's midnight and you're watching Nightline. I'm Anita. These are your headlines. Foreigners planning to enter Sabah and cause trouble during polling. Police to deploy all assets. And another new cluster found, this time in Pulau Pinang. We begin with our headlining story. Police have received information over a large influx of illegal immigrants into Sabah to cause disturbance during the upcoming state polls on September 26th. Sabah Police Commissioner Datuk Hazani Ghazali said following this, authorities will deploy all its assets to prevent any troublemakers from entering the state.
Sempena dengan pilihan raya negeri ini, kita juga mendapat maklumat mengatakan akan berlaku kemasukan besar-besaran daripada negara jiran untuk datang ke Sabah, balik ke Sabah dan membuat sedikit kekacauan dan sebagainya. Dan ini kita kena halang supaya pilihan raya kita ini berjalan dengan lancar dan tidak mengganggu-gugat dan ketenteraman awam serta keselamatan kita terjamin.
He added he had contacted the ESCOM commander to increase patrols at border crossings, as well as to detect rat lanes that might be used by illegals to slip through the country's borders, either by land or sea. Currently, there are 96 outposts manned by police and the army to monitor the country's borders in the east coast of the state and Kalimantan. He also said authorities are also beefing up security to curb the spread of COVID-19 in Sabah. Malaysia recorded 52 new COVID-19 cases on Sunday, bringing the total number of infections to 10,219 cases. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said that a new cluster was also detected in Pulau Pinang, dubbed the ARA cluster. The index case for the ARA cluster is a 44-year-old man who is a Malaysian citizen. The index case was positively detected through screening at the international entrance, PMA, in Sandakan, Sabah on September 15th after arriving from Peninsular Malaysia. After close contact screening, one other positive case was identified, which is the nephew of the index case. A total of 16 individuals have been screened for the cluster, with the remaining 14 people testing negative. Meanwhile, out of the total 52 new cases reported on Sunday, 40 were locally transmitted, involving 26 Malaysians and 14 non-citizens. The remaining 12 cases were imported and involved 3 Malaysians and 9 non-citizens. There were no COVID-19 related deaths reported, keeping the death toll at 130. The issue of security and health in Sabah ahead of the state election on September 26th will be discussed in a special ministerial committee meeting on Tuesday. Senior Minister for Security, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said this following the increasing number of COVID-19 positive cases in the state, which is concerning.
Pembentangan daripada pihak kesihatan, pembentangan daripada pihak polis dari segi keselamatan, pembentangan daripada segi kuarantin, pusat kuarantin. Jadi setiap minggu kita akan dapatkan laporan daripada semua pihak yang autoriti yang berkaitan. Hari Selasa ini kita akan bincang. Dan salah satu isu yang kita bincang pun mungkin dari segi keselamatan di Sabah, terutamanya yang melibatkan COVID-19 ini.
When asked to comment on reports that an UMNO Supreme Council member had tested positive for COVID-19 while campaigning in Kota Kinabalu, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said that he has yet to receive any confirmation on the matter. However, he added that if it was true, the person must undergo quarantine in Sabah before the individual can be allowed to return to the peninsula. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri also reminded all candidates and the election machinery of the contesting parties in the Sabah polls to comply to the standard operating procedures, SOP, during campaigning. He stressed that failure to do so will not only expose them to risks of COVID-19 infections, but will also endanger the voters in the areas they visit.
Kita hanya nampak yang ada kes sedikit di Tawau dan Lat Datu, tetapi di tempat lain pun belum tentu kawasannya selamat. Sebab saya dah katakan bahawa virus COVID-19 ini berada di mana-mana. Berada di sekitar kita. dan kita tidak tahu siapa yang merupakan pembawa ataupun carrier. Selagi vaksin tidak diperolehi, selagi itulah kita dalam keadaan yang tidak selamat.
He said this when visiting villages during a Ziarah Kasih program in Sekong, Sandakan on Sunday. The confusion among voters over the contesting parties under the newly formed Gabungan Rakyat Sabah (GRS) coalition is no longer seen as an issue. According to Parti Solidariti Tanah Airku, star president Datuk Dr. Jeffrey Kitingan, after a week of campaigning, voters are now more receptive of the coalition, which is made up of Perikatan Nasional (PN), Barisan Nasional (BN), and Parti Bersatu Sabah (PBS). Dr. Jeffrey, who is defending his Tambunan seat, said among the issues was the change of logo used by candidates. This had caused confusion among voters, including among his constituents, as he previously contested using the BN logo instead of the PN logo. Adding to the confusion, he is also facing off with Silvernus Bruno of PBS, which is PN's ally, in a six-cornered fight for the state seat.
There is some concern about our other partners in the government. But I think this one is being clarified, and I am confident that at the end of the day, they will know how to vote, and I am confident that they will vote Perikatan Nasional.
Apart from Tambunan, 16 other state seats are also seeing friendly contests between PN and its allies. Sukuk Prihatin, the government initiative under the National Economic Recovery Plan or Penjana, has been oversubscribed after registering a total subscription of more than 666 million ringgit. This has surpassed its initial target issuance size of 500 million ringgit. Finance Minister Datuk Sri Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz in a statement on Sunday said, as such, the government has decided to upsize the total issuance by an additional 166 million ringgit. The Sukuk was introduced by the government to provide an opportunity for the people to contribute to the nation's rebuilding efforts due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The subscription period opened on August 18th and closed on September 17th. Proceeds from Sukuk Prihatin will be channeled to the COVID-19 Consolidated Fund for the implementation of recovery measures, such as enhancing connectivity to rural schools, supporting research on infectious diseases, and financing micro-entrepreneurs. Datuk Sri Tengku Zafrul also thanked all who subscribed to the Sukuk Prihatin. The online subscription is a commendable achievement and made history as the first of its kind digital Sukuk in Malaysia. The Sukuk Prihatin will be issued on September 22nd with a maturity period of 2 years. It offers a profit rate of 2.0% per annum, which is tax exempted and will be paid on a quarterly basis. Sukuk holders also have the option to donate the principal amount either in part or in full upon its maturity on September 21st. The government will decide on the standardization of taxes and regulations for online accommodation booking service AirBnb and hotel operators by the end of this year. Housing and Local Government Minister Zuraida said discussions on the matter were currently underway to create a win-win situation for all the players and stakeholders concerned.
Isu tu sama ada pelesenan lah. Sama ada mereka kita nak bolehkan mereka untuk beroperasi di rumah-rumah residents ataupun tidak. Dan kalau nak proses, apakah dia punya license, apakah dia punya cukai, apakah dia punya fees. Itu semua kena. Atau bagaimana dia punya dia punya hubungan dengan JMB dan MC. Kan rumah-rumah ni semua ada JMB dan MC yang harus diuruskan dan sebagainya. Jadi banyak perkara yang harus diperkemaskan. Namun demikian kita tidak tolak tentang adanya Airbnb ini ada potensi untuk membangkitkan ekonomi dalam negara kita. Tapi kita harus melihatnya merancang atau membuat satu polisi kaedah yang boleh win-win untuk semua pihak.
According to Zuraida, apart from her ministry, the ongoing discussions involves the Tourism, Arts and Culture Ministry, state governments, as well as Malaysia Productivity Corporation. Last week, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Economic Affairs, Datuk Sri Mustafa Mohamad, said the government is finalising discussions on the standardisation of several issues involving the hotel sector and Airbnb to lift the tourism industry. Despite it helping to boost domestic tourism, Airbnb, which dominates the short-term rental market, is currently not governed by laws. This has led to many quarters demanding regulations and tougher rules on its operations. The hotel sector is also struggling to compete with the cheaper pricing offered on the home-sharing platform, which is driving many smaller players, like budget hotels, out of business. They're also calling for the government to start charging Airbnb the same taxes, such as tourism tax, as well as sales and services tax, that are imposed on hotel players to level the playing field. The Works Ministry and the Malaysia Highway Authority, LLM, are carrying out safety reviews, including assessing the implementation of responsibilities at all levels following the concrete slab accident along the ongoing Sungai Besi Ulu Klang Elevated Expressway, Sukuk construction. Senior Works Minister Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof, in issuing a warning to all parties involved in the construction, said all quarters must comply with all processes, procedures, specifications and the contracts set at the construction site without any compromise. In a statement on Sunday, Datuk Sri Fadilah said that LLM and Project Lintasan Kota Holding Sdn Berhad, Pro-Lintas, must review the most appropriate design methods involving structures to minimise risks to the employees and public. Fadilah also said the monitoring and work methods of consultants and contractors must be re-examined to ensure standardization of on-site design and monitoring methods. He also urged for a comprehensive study to be conducted by experienced experts to achieve the best design, which would minimize risks during construction involving traffic routes on existing roads. Meanwhile, the Department of Occupational Safety and Health, DOSH, has issued an immediate stop work order on the installation of the parapet walls at the Sukuk project. Deputy Human Resource Minister Awang Hashim, in a statement, said the order was to allow a comprehensive investigation to be conducted by DOSH on the cause of the incident. Meanwhile, the Kuala Lumpur City Hall, or DBKL, and related agencies have been asked to review the regulations at construction sites to further tighten safety aspects involving the public. Federal Territories Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa said the review would include fines and heavier penalties to prevent similar incidents from recurring. Tan Sri Anwar, on his official Twitter account, said the review would include fines and heavier penalties to prevent similar incidents from recurring. He also urged DBKL and the relevant agencies to tighten the safety aspects at construction sites as well as other matters related to public safety. He said this following the incident of a parapet wall slab from the ongoing construction work of the Sungai Besi Ulu Klang Elevated Expressway, Sukuk, which came loose and fell onto a moving car on Saturday. In the incident, the victim was driving along the MRR2 from Sungai Besi, heading towards Ampang, and was nearing a petrol station in Bandar Tasik Selatan when the 1 metre square concrete slab fell and hit her car at about 5:45 p.m. The 25-year-old victim suffered light injuries and was sent to the Tuanku Mukhris Chancellor Hospital for treatment. Motorists find large python curled up inside petrol station fuel pump. More on this when we return. Stay tuned on Nightline. Welcome back. Still on Nightline. In Johor, the bodies of 6 immigrants, including 4 women, were found washed up on the Teluk Sea Beach near Bandar Penawar. Kota Tinggi Superintendent Hussein Zamora said a member of the public reported the sighting at 9:40 a.m. on Sunday. He added police believe that the victims, aged between 31 and 46, were immigrants from Indonesia who tried to enter Malaysia illegally by sea. After finding the bodies, police, together with the Malaysian Armed Forces, successfully arrested 6 Indonesian men who were part of the same group. He said the bodies have been sent to Hospital Sultan Ismail in Johor Bahru for post-mortem, adding that the case was classified as sudden death, while the 6 arrested Indonesians have been handed over to the Immigration Department for further investigations. The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, MCMC, has commenced investigation into consumer complaints regarding the reduction of the upload speed for Unify 500 megabytes per second broadband plan launched by Telekom Malaysia Berhad last month. In a statement on Sunday, MCMC said the details of the complaint stated that TM had offered 200 Mbps upload speed for the broadband package. After reviewing TM's official website, MCMC said the complainant detected that the package had changed since September 2nd, with the upload speed being reduced by half to only 100 Mbps. MCMC also said that it would not hesitate to take action against the service provider if the initial investigation finds that there are elements that violate the interests of consumers. The Commission also gave assurance that the investigation on the issue will be conducted transparently and fairly. Meanwhile, TM has denied that the 200 Mbps upload speed was false advertising, claiming that the Unify package advertisement on the Unify portal was a mistake, which they said had been rectified and updated on the website. The company also apologized for the error and any inconvenience caused to consumers, assuring that it will give full cooperation to the MCMC in its probe. Indah Water Consortium Sdn Berhad, IWK, said the incident of black-coloured water found in Sungai Gong in Selangor was not due to effluent discharge from its Rawang Integrated Industrial Park sewage treatment plant, as reported by the media. In a statement on Sunday, the company said it believes the effluent was released by an illegal waste disposal unit near the plant that caused the water to turn a deep yellow. Its Chief Executive Officer, Narendran Maniam, said IWK has identified the presence of yellow-coloured non-sewage waste inside the plant's intake chamber. As such, the company has immediately stopped effluent discharge and started a cleaning operation. He also said that the real cause of the pollution was probably illegal waste disposal. He added that sewage treatment plants are designed to treat wastewater and are not capable of treating chemicals or other wastes illegally discharged into the sewer pipeline. It was reported that the Selangor Water Management Board, LUAS, received a report on Saturday that the water in Sungai Gong had turned black without the presence of odour. Based on further investigations, LUAS found discoloured and foamy effluent discharge, which it alleged was from the IWK plant in the Rawang Industrial Park. Motorists at a petrol station were shocked to see a python all curled up inside a fuel pump at the premises in Kuala Lumpur on Sunday. The medium-sized reptile was spotted at the petrol station in Taman Melati along the MRR2. Firemen and Civil Defence Force APM personnel rushed to the scene after they were alerted by the petrol station staff on the surprising discovery. They had to take apart the fuel pump before they could pull out the snake and take it in for further action. It's believed that the wild animal took refuge inside the fuel pump to escape the cold due to the rainy weather in the past few days. This just in Kuala Lumpur, another car was badly damaged, suspected to be from a falling object near a construction site in Taman Lenseng, Cheras, during heavy rains on Sunday night. Pictures of the incident, which occurred at about 8 p.m, have gone viral on social media, showing the back of a Proton Saga car crushed by an object. The male car driver, in his 50s, whose identity is still unknown, was uninjured but was pinned in the vehicle. Firemen were then called in to extricate the victim. It's been alleged that the lifting hook of a mobile crane may have hit the car, which was travelling in front of it before the heavy vehicle left the scene. However, details of the incident were unclear and are still being investigated by police. Still to come on Nightline, Thai demonstrators challenge Monarchy openly as huge protests escalate. Do stay with us. Welcome back. We move on to the foreign front. Anti-government protesters in Thailand declared victory on Sunday after handing a list of demands for monarchy reform to authorities in an explosive and unprecedented move in a country that reveres the king, which is illegal under Lese Majesty laws. Thousands of protesters marched near the Grand Palace in Bangkok for the second straight day to hand over a series of demands for democratic reforms, including changes to the country's powerful royal family, in a direct challenge to King Maha Vajiralongkorn. Crowds were stopped by police in front of the Supreme Court, but one student leader, Panusaya Sitijirawatanapuwas, was allowed to walk past a line of officers to hand an envelope containing the demands to a police commissioner to be passed to the King's Privy Council. One of the protest leaders, Parit Penguin Chiwarak, then declared victory before calling for a general strike on October 14th to show their support for change and for people to withdraw money from Siam Commercial Bank, SCB, of which King Vajiralongkorn is the largest shareholder. The United States has broken with all other permanent members of the United Nations Security Council and unilaterally declared the re-imposition of all UN sanctions against Iran, a claim rejected by Iran and the international community, including Washington's close allies, as having no legal basis. In a statement on Sunday following the expiration of a deadline set by the US, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo threatened consequences for any UN member state that does not comply with the punitive measures, which were lifted under a landmark nuclear deal that was signed between 6 world powers and Iran in 2015, but was abandoned by the US more than 2 years ago. In addition to adhering to conventional arms embargo that is due to expire next month, Pompeo said member states must comply with restrictions such as the ban on Iran engaging in nuclear enrichment and reprocessing related activities, the prohibition on ballistic missile testing and development, and sanctions on transfer of nuclear and missile-related technologies. His statement came a month after the US officially triggered the process aimed at restoring all UN sanctions on Iran, claiming significant Iranian violations of the Joint Comprehensive Plan for Action. Meanwhile, Australia recorded 18 new cases on Sunday, its lowest daily increase in new coronavirus cases in 3 months on Sunday, as a hard lockdown in the city of Melbourne brought the country's virus epicentre down sharply. The second most populous state, Victoria, of which Melbourne is capital, reported 14 new infections in the 24 hours, down from 21 new cases the day prior and its lowest since June 19th. That put Victoria, which has spent months under lockdown to slow a second wave of infections, on track to meet a target of keeping average daily increases below 50 by September 28th, when authorities have said they may lift restrictions. Meanwhile, Australia's biggest state, New South Wales and Queensland state, also reported 2 cases each. The 5 other states and territories had not reported daily case numbers by Sunday morning, but have reported no increases most days for weeks. Australia currently has a total of 26,900 coronavirus cases and 850 deaths. Next on Nightline, Akmal Hakim pedals to victory in Bukit Katil, Malacca. Sports coming up next. Stay tuned. We're back with sports news now. Cycling. Sapura cycling team TSC rider Akmal Hakim Zakaria clinched the national jersey when he emerged champion in the men's elite at the 2020 National Road Cycling Championship in Bukit Katil, Malacca on Sunday. Akmal Hakim snatched the national jersey from Terengganu cycling team TSG rider Nur Amirul Fakhruddin Marzuki after clocking the fastest time, 4 hours 36.03 seconds in the 182-kilometre road race challenge. Nur Amirul Fakhruddin had earlier wanted to create history as the first rider to defend the national jersey in a decade, but despite recording the same time, he lost to Akmal Hakim at the tail end of the race. In the tournament, Sapura took 3 of the 4 main titles, namely the men's elite, team time trial TTT and individual time trial ITT. We now take a look at the highlights in Malaysia's main newspapers upcoming Monday, September 21st. The New Straits Times features a report by a major job portal that says employers are continuing to take in more new workers, especially in IT roles. And the concrete slab accident along the ongoing Sungai Besi Ulu Klang elevated expressway Sukuk construction is one of the main stories for Malaysia's best-selling Malay newspaper Harian Metro. Berita Harian, meanwhile, highlights a report on antibiotics that requires prescription from healthcare professionals being readily available and sold directly to consumers at grocery stores run by foreigners. Whereas a peace and stagnant secondary property market takes the front page of the Malaysian Reserve. Don't forget to get your copies or subscribe to the online newspaper. In wrapping up this evening, a seal near Senja, Norway, paused to stare at a drone flying above the water just before it feasted on a bait ball as part of a feeding frenzy. As we wrap up Nightline, let's take a look at the aerial footage captured by Matt Robinson of the marine creature, looking all curious. I'm Anita. Thank you for watching and be well.